Hello YouTube, this is Lloyd de Jong. I want to discuss Iran's global jihad so that we can derive an understanding of their intentions based on their constitution. This document outlines exactly what they intend to do, and they certainly do intend to build a global caliphate, and the method for doing so is a global jihad. I also want to clarify the meaning of this term so that there is no misunderstanding as to what it means and what their intentions are. There's far too much confusion out there and too many people discussing this who have not defined basic terms. Let's begin. This presentation focuses on the Iranian constitutionally mandated global jihad and the definitive meaning of that term. From the preamble that we can see on the screen, it is clear that Iran is an Islamic Republic, that its laws are according to Islam and the Quran and follows the ideology faithfully. Note that Iran insists that it underwent an ideological revolution, using the same terminology as found in the Communist Revolution, with an Islamic rather than a Marxist underpinning. As you can see, this constitution was adopted on 24th October 1979. You can see underlined in yellow we've got the Islamic Republic of Iran, Islamic Principles and Norms, Islamic Ummah, a worldwide community of Muslims, Islamic Revolution, Muslim people struggle. The basic characteristics of this revolution, which distinguishes it from other movements that have taken place in Iran during the past 100 years, is its ideological and Islamic nature. I'm going to provide a brief summary of this lengthy document, to which links and source analysis which you can pursue will be provided. The Iranian Constitution cites the Quran 14 times. Iran wants to project the Iranian Revolution globally, establishing Islam's supremacy worldwide. Iran has ambitions to reshape man in the Islamic image. You may start to see parallels with the Communist Revolution in terms of its aims and goals. The Sharia, sacred or supreme Islamic law, is enshrined in this constitution. Iran sees the world as an Iranian caliphate. The aim of the Iranian government is to foster the growth of man in such a way that he progresses towards the establishment of a divine order in accordance with the Qur'anic phrase, and towards Allah is the journeying, Quran 3:28. Now in Iran, Jafari fiqh, which is their Shia legal jurisprudence, is enshrined in this constitution. Now, I know that numerous people have an issue with, let's say, the religious right in America, but somehow they have no problem with the religious right of Iran, of Islam. Hypocrisy, if you ask me, but yes, Iran intends to create a global caliphate under Shia Islam, with it as the dominant power. Ibn Khaldun is one of the most highly regarded scholars in Islam. While Islamic apologists will lie about and dismiss him simply due to the embarrassment caused by this statement from the Muqaddimah, Iran is attempting to fulfill an Islamic obligation going back to Muhammad. Often you will hear that citing the correct, specific, and relevant Islamic texts that ruin the false narrative are labeled as cherry-picking by their false reasoning. To say that 1 + 1 is equal to 2 is cherry-picking. To say that Tehran is the capital of Iran is cherry-picking. Or to say that Wednesday is the day after Tuesday is cherry-picking. Let us read what Ibn Khaldun has to say. As stated here, Ibn Khaldun is Islam's greatest historian. If you want to know more, obviously you can go look him up online. So holy war is a religious duty in Islam. In the Muslim community, the holy war is a religious duty because of the universalism of the Muslim mission and the obligation to convert everybody to Islam either by persuasion or by force. The other religious groups did not have a universal mission, and the holy war was not a religious duty for them, save only for purposes of defense. Islam is under obligation to gain power over other nations. That is in the Muqaddimah, translated by Rosenthal on page 183. Gaining power over other nations is a political aim and a political act. This is not a religious act. Islam is a political system. Now, some will say, well, times have changed. It's no longer January 1st, 1336. However, the Islamic consensus was set by the 14th century. The gates of Ijma, as they say, are closed. That means it is the duty of Muslims to simply submit to Islam as defined by its major scholars in the past. Now, it is not uncommon for English translations of Islamic documents, especially religious texts, to be sanitized, watering down their meaning for Western and English-speaking audiences. Article 11 of the Iranian Constitution, in the translation that I am showing here, uses softly diplomatic, polished language. The source with full analysis will be presented at the end of this discussion, but for now, let's see what it says. Article 11 states all Muslims form a single nation. The preamble states that the Constitution provides the necessary basis for ensuring the continuation of the revolution at home and abroad, and will strive with other Islamic and popular movements to prepare the way for the formation of a single world community. Our global government? You tell me. This would also be very similar to the communist international aims. They would work with other movements to prepare the way for a global communist government. This is merely a global Islamic government under the Iranian Caliphate. And this is in accordance with the Quranic verse, "This your community is a single community, and I am your Lord, so worship me." Quran 21:92. I have quoted there the Article 11 taken from a specific website. Should you look through various websites, you'll find slightly different English translations. I'm just using this one so that you get the flavor of what they're saying here in much more diplomatic language. Some of them are more blunt. Iran's constitution is about exporting revolutions. Let's read these two articles. Article 144. The army of the Islamic Republic of Iran must be an Islamic army, a religious army thus, committed to Islamic ideology, and the people must recruit into its service individuals who have faith in the objectives of the Islamic Revolution and are devoted to the cause of realizing its goals. Article 154. The Islamic Republic of Iran has as its ideal human felicity throughout human society, and considers the attainment of independence, freedom, and rule of justice and truth to be the right of all people of the world. Accordingly, while scrupulously refraining from all forms of interference in the internal affairs of other nations, it supports the just struggles of the Mustadafun against the Mustakbirun in every corner of the globe. Now, I've taken this translation of the Iranian Constitution from the Iran Chamber Society so that I wouldn't be told that I'm taking it from an organization unfriendly to Iran. So hence, I'm utilizing a version that is clearly from an Iranian source. The link is available on the left below in blue. Mustakbirun translates as oppressors. The context here is those who suppress the religion of Allah, who do not submit to the Muslims and bow to Islam. Mustadafun translates as the oppressed. This is socialist justice language, just like the socialist Marxist claim that hardworking people oppress lazy people, or that people who read to their children oppress children who aren't read to by their parents. This is Marxism proletariat versus bourgeoisie, rephrased as oppressor versus oppressed. Social Marxist language. The Iranian regime recruits agents to do its bidding in every corner of the globe, and while not explicitly stated in these passages, the definitions of truth, justice, freedom, and so on are according to the Islamic Sharia, not Western principles. Generally, they are diametrically opposed. Again, a link to the specific Iranian constitutional source is below with the screen cap of the Iran Chamber Society. Right, let us read this passage. This is the meat of the intentions and the methods of Iran's constitution. The mad mullahs intend world domination under Shia Islam imposed through terror. The religious army. In the organization and equipping of the country's defense forces, there must be regard for faith and religion as their basis and rules. And so, the Islamic Republic's army and the Corps of Revolutionary Guards must be organized in accordance with this aim. They have responsibility not only for the safeguarding of the frontiers, but also for a religious mission, which is holy war, jihad, in the path of Allah, and the struggle to extend the supremacy of Allah's law in the world. Against them, make ready your strength to the utmost of your power, including steeds of war, to strike terror into the hearts of the enemies of Allah, and your enemies, and others beside. This is Quran 8:62. I think this makes it very, very clear. Iran intends to extend Iranian domination to the entire world. They will do so utilizing holy war, jihad, to impose their version of the Sharia on the entire planet. And they will utilize terror to do so. The peaceful religion has a manual of warfare. I am not surprised if you weren't told this. This book is called the Qur'anic concept of war. Islam has a system of warfare, just as it possesses a legal and political system. Historically, warfare is the primary method by which Islam has imposed itself. See the YouTube series on Islam I did with Jan Irvin, Unspun, episode 138, Islamic Jihad, Scripture and Doctrine, for a much more detailed analysis of jihad. Unlike many, Jan was willing to dive deep into the subject the way few people have. Let us learn more about this book and read what Brigadier Malik has to say. Written by Pakistani Brigadier General S.K. Malik, this book is more than just a study of the military campaigns of the Islamic Prophet Muhammad between 610 and 630 AD against the Christian, Jewish and pagan tribes inhabiting Saudi Arabia, who historically were living together peacefully until the arrival of Islam, and any who refused to pay Sharia-mandated protection money called jizya to Muhammad.